So I'm interested in talking about the question of whether there is a God. And it wouldn't surprise you, I guess, to hear that I'm here to argue for there being divinity in life, for there being divinity in our existence. I'm here to argue for it. And I'm here to report back to you on my experience as a contemplative of 30 years, mainly Buddhist contemplative, but that doesn't confine me or define me. I'm really fundamentally a contemplative of life. And to be a true Buddhist contemplative is to be interested in waking up to circumstance, the circumstance of this existence, to see it beyond the superficial and accepted norms, and to question the way things are, in fact, and to just look deeply with curiosity and with an eye of seeing, which is an eye of awareness that is cultivated as a result of practices, methods that facilitate that sort of awakening, that sort of understanding of what consciousness is, how to inhabit the consciousness that is unobstructed and unconditioned and free from presumption. The question of whether there is a God is absolutely critical these days. Many people may think, oh, it's just a kind of specialist subject that is for the kind of religious few, the worthy few that have a concern about these matters, but we've got a real life to be getting on with. But if there is divinity, as I am asserting, then it is a divinity that is all-pervasive, present here and now. Something inescapable. An elephant in the room that if we are out of relationship with has negative consequences. If we are in relationship with it has positive consequences. Simple as that. So we're all in or out of relationship to it to one degree or another, with differing degrees of consciousness and differing degrees and different types of interpretation of what it is that is being experienced. But I'm here to argue for real clarity, real precision, a real understanding of the methodologies, a real understanding of the technologies of awakening. Not to be revealed all in this fun video, but that's the background, that's the direction of travel. Because in these times of Brexit, there's just been a lot of greed, hatred and delusion, for want of a better way of putting it. A lot of falsity, a lot of fake speech, a lot of fake thinking, a lot of fakeness, period. These are sandcastles built on air, as are many things in life and society and culture. But it's all a question of degrees. But right now there is a lot of passion emerging, and passion is a good thing. Passion for Brexit, passion against Brexit. It's passion. And the contemplative path has a lot to do with our relationship to passion as well. Passion is certainly encountered on the journey to knowing our circumstance, the circumstance of our existence. Why it's so important these days then is that without orientation to contemplative tradition, and without some understanding and engagement in contemplative ways, then we become unanchored, we become rudderless. This is why I'm arguing that yes, there is a God, if that's the language you want to use. I can use very different language, but we're using that language in this instance. There is a God, there is divinity, and it's incumbent on us to realize it. It's essential. Whether you agree with it or not, or whether you like that or not, I'm saying it happens just to be the case. Because to be out of alignment with the truth of who and what we are is to be living with anxiety, is to be running scared. And living with anxiety and running scared is basically what stress and consumerism and fundamentalism is. Fundamentalism is certainty that is hopefully going to relieve us of anxiety. Consumerism is going to make us feel full, of nourished, supported, buffered, insulated, safe, surrounded by the new, surrounded by the discovered, surrounded by the beautiful, surrounded by the youthful, perhaps. All proxies for the real deal, which is to be discovered through awakening. So the terrible consequence of this incoherence is what we witness right now with our divided society. Wisdom and compassion are the consequence of coherence, whatever they may be. That is to be discussed. But the absence of wisdom and compassion is the problem that we are facing. We are needing real wisdom and real compassion in this world these days. And the contemplative way, the contemplative tradition is required for taking the idea of wisdom and compassion beyond ideology, beyond just like a nice idea. Trump coined the term idiot compassion. Idiot wisdom, perhaps even. That is when the compassion is notional, the wisdom is notional. It's not something that we're actually unconditionally rooted in. It's not an effortless effulgence born out of luminosity, realized each one for ourselves as the true nature, as the true essence of who and what we are. It's not that. It's more a good idea. Doesn't mean to say that gives rise to entirely bad results. There are plenty of good people doing good deeds and good things that are to be respected, who work out of that level. But we need more spiritual adults now, quickly, lots of them. Spiritual adulthood comes about as a result of engaging in transformational practices. It's a kind of an alchemy. Psychophysical changes will occur. it's an awakening process that brings us to the realization that not only there is a God, but there only ever was a God, there only is a God, and we are essentially of that nature. We are made of that stuff. And that needs to be totally normalized. It's like, it shouldn't be so like freaking like sort of amazing. So extraordinary that it's only for Jesus. It's ridiculous. We all have some association with this truth, with this goodness, as I said, and it differs by degrees, but I'm talking about taking it to the fullest extent. I'm talking about taking it to the fullest extent. That is what might commonly be described as enlightenment. Each one for themselves. Spiritually mature human beings would be a nice thing these days. We need them as leaders. We need them as teachers. We need them as mothers and fathers. We need more and more of them. And I'm saying you are all enlightened to a greater or lesser extent. But I am here to encourage pushing the envelope to the greatest extent. Making conscious the processes. Making conscious the processes. Making conscious the processes. And offering the maps. Becoming experts in the nature of existence. And becoming sane in our relationship to that. Not believers, not concerned with converting anybody. Not fanatics, not ideologues, not promoters even of a particular religion, because I am interested in the religion of being awake. Only. Which is what the true meaning of the word religion actually is to reconnect with a reality that you wake up to. So the implication of that is that we are out of relationship with a reality that we are asleep to, or that there is a dullness to. And now is the time has come. We're no longer fully enamored with the authority of the church, the authority even of the guru or the teacher. Some of us are, of course, and that's okay. That can be a stepping stone on the way. But the goal of this tradition is to become independent in the teacher's dispensation. That is to say you don't need a teacher anymore at a certain point. It doesn't mean to say you've no more to learn and you don't respect your elders. You certainly do. That's certainly true. But you're playing your own jazz. You're playing your own music. You're the seer and the understander, the cognizer of how it is. And this is a seed potential in every human being. The capacity to know. And until we know we will not be satisfied, that is because it is hardwired into us that we will come to know. It is hardwired into us that we will be fulfilled and happy. Because until we're happy, until that happiness is satisfied, we will consume and we will destroy and we will kill and we will do all sorts in pursuit of that experience of completion, that experience of fulfillment that has to be come to. So this is not religion as commonly understood, and this is not God as commonly understood. This is nothing to do with belief. It's to do with the alchemy of transformation. And nobody teaches you this stuff at school. Nobody talks about it in the pub. You're not going to come across it at many dinner parties in any substantial sense. For some reason, it's rarely encountered these days, although it's becoming, thanks to the interweb, more accessible. So, divinity is true. That is my position. And that is my experience. But it is of no use to you. Because that is something that has to be discovered for yourself. And the critical thing at this point is to neither accept nor reject anything that I say, because I'm not here to convert. I am not here for you to carry a new position away, but I am here to hopefully in some detail try and share the methodologies, the technologies of awakening that will enable you to see for yourself something that is not black or white, something that is not left or right, something that is not good or bad, something that neither is born nor dies. What could that be? And this is not a Formica sterile flatland I'm describing. This really is, for want of a better way of putting it, heaven on earth. And when you've discovered heaven on earth, then it all gets to be considerably easier and it starts to make more sense. The big stuff starts to make more sense. And the big stuff is fundamentally the big deal about being a human being is old age, sickness and death. That is the big deal. That is the big problem. That is the big conundrum. How to make a secure life in the face of that fact. How to make a warm and fuzzy, happy, cool life in the face of that fact. For the majority of us, we just ignore that fact. Hope that somehow it ain't gonna happen to us, but it seems to be happening to me, and it's happened to everyone else I know. They definitely are growing older, and they're also leaving this mortal coil. So, in summation, all I am saying is there is a solution. There is a realization to be had that transcends the arising and passing, the birth and the death of all things. It contributes to your life and the life of others here and now, has implications that run through every conceivable area of life for the good. Yet, we're rudderless without it, yet Who's telling you about this stuff? I don't see myself as having a particularly unique or special message, but I do see myself as having to, and feeling compelled to contribute what I can. Because there's a lot of thirsty people around, thirsting for the water of life, the enrichening, the deepening, the glory, the majesty, the bliss, the well-being, the ease, the wisdom, the fulfillment, the sense of self-worth. Etc., etc., that comes from attunement, alignment with the way things are.